Welcome back to Boring Gear Reviews. This week we've got the Walrus Audio Melee. Walrus Audio was started in 2011 and they're based out of Oklahoma City. If you'd like to see a demo of other Walrus pedals, go ahead and click the link up here. So the Melee is a distortion and reverb pedal in one. And there are 3 separate reverb algorithms in this pedal, all indicated by the color of the right LED. So by pressing both foot switches down at the same time, you'll cycle through them. You have an ambient reverb, which is pink. You have an octave down reverb, which is yellow. And then you have a reverse reverb with feedback, which is blue. For controls, you've got a true bypass and a sustain switch, which will either temporarily ramp up the feedback if you're holding it down, or if you press and let go, it'll latch and freeze whatever note was playing at the time. We've got a volume knob, which controls the overall output of the pedal while it's on. A tone switch, which goes from bright, normal, and dark. A decay switch, which goes from long, medium, to short. And an order switch, which you can have the drive before reverb or the reverb before drive. And lastly, we have the most unique thing about this pedal, which is a joystick. Obviously, this is super different from most pedals. And in this case, the joystick is going to control the amount of distortion and the dry-wet mix of the reverb. So left to right controls the mix of the reverb. We have no reverb to fully wet. And then your up and down is going to control the amount of distortion. So, little to no distortion, and then you crank it up to a very thick, crunchy fuzz. The joystick makes for not only a fast way to move between blends and amount of distortion, but it also is fun. And it kind of encourages you to experiment and try new things and then find a setting you like. And because it is so easy to dial in, you don't really have to worry about like, oh, this one specific spot was perfect. Like everywhere works really, really well. And it's very intuitive, so you pick it up quick. For today's demo, I'm going to be using my 2013 Gibson Les Paul Traditional, and this has Sunbear 59 PAFs. If you would like to see my full demo of those, go ahead and click here too. And as always, I will be going into my UAD Apollo X6 and using the Softube JMP 2203 amp sim completely clean. All right, so for this first clip, I'm going to start with a very thick distortion, almost completely maxed out. I'm basically going to have it at like whatever that is, 10 or 11 o'clock. One way I kind of quickly recall where I'm at is there are 4 screws at the corners, and that's an easy way to kind of reference where you're at. So I'm going to have it at the upper left screw, and then halfway through I'm going to switch it over to the upper right screw, so you're getting like mostly reverb with still a ton of distortion. I'm going to have the tone circuit in the middle, the decay in the middle, and I'm going to be having the drive before the reverb. And in this clip we are going to be using the ambient reverb algorithm. Okay, so for this next clip, we are going to have the tone on the bright setting. I'm going to keep the decay in the middle, and then still keep the drive before the reverb. Here we're going to be using the reverse reverb, and just like a little bit of distortion. So I'm going to have it, towards the bottom right screw, but not all the way. So it's going to be like a kind of a light to medium gain. And then what's cool about it is that like the reverse function, when you're using it, it can sound very much like a reverse reverb. And then sometimes when you're playing, it just sounds like a very cool pre-delay or slapback delay, the way you're using it. It's really, really nice, very big, open, airy sound. I really enjoy it. So for this next clip, we're going to stay on the bright tone setting. I'm going to back the decay all the way off, so the lowest decay setting, and I'm going to have the reverb before the drive. The joystick will be in about the same position, this kind of like 4 or 5 o'clock position, not quite maxed out to the wall. And then I'm going to be using the octave down reverb. And for this last clip, we're going to stay on the octave down reverb. I'm going to keep the tone bright. I'm going to have the decay at the shortest setting, and I'm going to put the drive back in front of the reverb. And the joystick is going to be almost in the middle. I'm going to point it down slightly to reduce some of the gain, but other than that, it's almost dead center. All right, and that'll do it for the Melee. You know, Walrus always does really great work. So this is a quality pedal. It feels good in your hand. The joystick is really fun and engaging. You know, sometimes with pedals, I'll kind of find a setting and then I'll be like, oh, that's it. I gotta leave it. But this really does encourage you to play and not worry so much about the exactness. And you know, these switches, you might feel like, oh no, I want a tone knob and a decay knob, and I have to say that they're balanced really, really well. The bright setting is like where you would put it if you were turning up the tone, and the mid setting is basically like nothing is interfering, and then when you roll it back, it sounds like when you'd roll a tone knob back. So in this pedal, I don't really miss the knobs. It's balanced and EQ'd well, and then the same thing with the decay. So I you know, if that is something that is worrying you, I wouldn't worry about it. It works really, really well. The distortion circuit in this is great, very thick and crumbly. It's a lot of the qualities that I want in any drive I'm looking for, and it's right here very easily. It cleans up great and blends really well with this reverb. All the algorithms sound really nice. They're super easy and quick to get through, so in a live setting, being able to switch through them quickly, and then even with your foot, adjust this, or very quickly drop down and do it with your hands. This is something that would work extremely well in a live context. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please consider hitting that subscribe button, clicking the notification bell so you get notified every week when I put out a new video. For more information on the Melee or Walrus Audio, you can find their links in the description below. All right, and that'll do it for another video. Thank you guys so much for coming, and I will see you next week. Peace.